You are watching Anachronology.
Let us round out our year jaunt here in 2003 with our last category, and that is none other than movies.
The cinema.
Cinema. We love movies here. We're obviously pretty big. I don't like using the word cinephile. I think that sounds kind of douchey when people say that. I'm a cinephile. I just like movies, bro. Okay.
Yeah, I think like unironically, like Tarantino's a cinephile, Nolan's a cinephile.
Agreed.
Like those guys.
I'll let that pass.
Yeah, those guys are cinephiles. Anytime if there's just some guys here on their YouTube or their podcast, technically they're not cinephiles. They're just guys who really like movies.
Really like movies, absolutely, and obviously. Really liked movies in 2003. So I kind of forgot what some of the films were that came out in that time. AI producer downloading us with the goodies. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2003. Right off the bat, I definitely would call this a good Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, the final chapter of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which, to be honest with you, I think there probably hasn't been a series of films since that really kind of packed that allure, that brought people into the theaters, that was filled with excitement. I remember vividly, I think the first one came out in 2001, and I remember in maybe the late 2000s, they put out a trailer, and I remember the trailer so vividly when I went to go see a movie, and it was a very simple trailer, and it's just like all of like Gandalf and the Hobbits and Aragorn, and they're all just like walking over this mountainside. And it was an announcement trailer for not just one movie, but 3 movies. And they were going to release them all 1 year after another, starting in 2001. So they built up this marketing machine for this movie. And by the time you went and saw the first one, everybody was in. If you were a fantasy nerd, if you ever read any Tolkien, if you had any idea what we were getting into for the next 3 years, it was an event. There's just not movie events like this. Hasn't been in a long time.
I have a vague memory of that, like that announcement trailer, because it's like it's Fellowship of the Ring 2001,
yes,
and then Two Towers 2000.
Yes.
I remember like being in the theater, people were like, "Whoa, how are they going to do that?" Peter Jackson will show you how.
That was exactly what it was, and it was like, wow, and I think this movie's interesting too, because I think they were all just cinematic achievements. Obviously, I think, I even think those films still hold up today. I think I haven't watched them in a while, but I watched them a while ago. I still think they pack a punch. I think that, really too, they're those kinds of films that just like, everybody kind of wants to make these films again, but it's just watered down versions of it. I mean, Peter Jackson went on to make like The Hobbit after this, which was almost like a watered down version of his own Lord of the Rings, but he just kind of broke the mold with these 3 movies, especially Return of the King, which I think he won like 10 or 11 Oscars or some shit. He won a ton of Oscars for this movie.
I do remember like they won nothing for like the first 2, and then once this one came out, I think that was like the consensus among whoever in the Academy is. They're like, we kind of have to. We kind of
have to. And they swept it. They basically won every big major award that year. And dude, it is what it is. It's kind of solidified in greatness.
Everything, I don't think no acting nominations, but like everything else, like directing, cinematography, costumes, music, like everything else, but like no acting, which is kind of a bummer for the people in the cast, because it's like there's a whole bunch of people in there. But
sorry, Elijah Wood. Maybe next time.
Sorry.
Nemo, another big thing. Pixar's Finding Nemo came out. It was very popular Pixar hit. I mean, this was, I don't remember what came before. Was it Toy Story? No, I don't know if it was that recent after Toy Story, but I just know this one was kind of that big family movie. This was really when I think Pixar started to hit its stride as being like this big kind of cartoon entertainment company of making these big kind of movies with its really patented style of animation. I think Ellen DeGeneres is one of the voices, right?
She's because Dory, because the sequel is This Is Finding Dory. I haven't seen the sequel, but this one, like this is like a Pixar movie that I have not seen in a long time, but I do remember enjoying this one. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would put it as like I really like The Incredibles. I think The Incredibles is like one of the best Pixar movies. Like the OG Toy Story is really good from like not only think just for like the nostalgia, but also the story that the movie that it is. This one, I don't think I would put it as good as like The Incredibles, but this is a good one. Like, I'm not just saying that. Like, obviously, it's a great kids movie, but like, if you're an adult, you know what I mean. Like, this is a. I would put this on the like A tier, maybe not S tier, but like the A tier of Pixar movies for sure.
Yeah, that's agreeable. I think so. And they had like Stoner Turtles. I mean, they always throw like funny little adult humor that they pepper in. Pixar is always good at doing that. It was no different than that with this film either. So yeah, that was definitely. I know that was a money maker. AI producer says that made 940 million in the box office. That's a lot of cash.
Damn.
Speaking of
So
a lot
this
of
is
cash, Johnny Depp's wallet never hurt doing thousands of these Pirates of the Caribbean movies. This was definitely not the first one, because I think the first one is just aptly Pirates of the Caribbean, and then everything after that had some like snarky, sailing title, Curse of the Black Pearl, and I think they made 6 or 5 or something. They made a lot.
They didn't make a lot. I don't like I said, I do not remember which one this is. Then, and similar to like I was talking about, like Pixar, ranking them. I've not seen all the Pirates of the Caribbeans, but I do remember seeing the first one and be like, not bad. Like, not, this isn't bad. Like, this is,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's they don't really make, well, shit, this is 2023. This is in '03. The big epic like blockbuster, especially like a period piece. You don't really see like successful like period pieces.
Yeah,
and this
absolutely.
this one just raked it in the freaking box office. But I think
Oh
if
yeah.
this is the first one, I remember seeing the first one and be like, yeah, it was pretty good. And then I remember seeing like a sequel and saying, well, I'm not watching any more of these. Like this you can't really like duplicate the lightning.
Yeah, no pun intended. The ship had run aground very early
Yeah.
on for this series, and I think what it proved though to Disney was that they could take their literal rides and turn them into IPs, and then their greedy little eyes were like, "Oh baby, we got something here." Instead of latching on to like, "We're going to remake this cartoon and this and that," they were like, "Hey, here we go. We can literally be remaking our gross ass, stinky water pirate ride and make billions of dollars off of it."
I was like, whoever figured that out, like, yeah, whoever figured
Pay
that
that
out,
guy. Yeah, pay
pay
that
that
guy.
dude, because I've been on that ride.
No doubt.
That ride
It's
sucks.
gross. It
It
sucks. Yeah,
sucks.
it sucks. And obviously, Johnny Depp, I mean, talk about easy paycheck. He just, played the same character through 5 movies, 6 movies, didn't really change. He was drunk the whole time,
Yeah,
probably
brought
like
his
the
own
character.
wardrobe. He
Brought
had all
his
that
own
pirate gear.
wardrobe.
He had all
Yeah.
that pirate gear.
Yep, absolutely. Bruce Almighty. This was another kind of like possibly maybe the end of maybe Jim Carrey being kind of the hit maker that he was. I think like this was funny. I remember some parts of this. It's funny. The idea is funny. All of a sudden he has like godlike powers. He can do anything he wants. But I want to say 2003, probably after this, was kind of like maybe Jim Carrey kind of went into like reclusiveness after this and just kind of measured himself back.
I don't remember. You're right. I don't remember him making like being the lead on any what would you call it, like his type of vehicle, you know what I mean, like where he's the funny, like
Yeah.
the gregarious funny guy who has to learn a lesson. Like I don't think he had another starring role where he like put on this type of character. Like I want to think that movie 23 where he was like the saxophone player. It's like
Like
a
a
noir.
darker film.
I want to
Yeah.
say that was like after this one, like after I want to say that. So you mean you might be pretty on point there, where this was like his swan song of being that $20 million, like $20
Yeah.
payday, headliner.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, again, it's like, sure, there were some funny parts. I remember Steve Carell got his big breakout part in this. He was like, then he
The
became
newscast
Evan.
guy.
Evan Almighty was like the sequel where he starred in it. I think that Evan character's in this Bruce Almighty
Mhm.
film or whatever.
Yeah, he
But
steals. He's the coworker who like steals his the news article or whatever that he's doing. They're both vying for the job, and Carell basically plagiarizes what Carrie had written. So Carrie uses his god powers to play tricks on him. But
yeah, that like funny
yeah,
teleprompter scene or whatever. That's what I can always think about. But yeah, not too bad, but not super memorable. Yeah, I mean, this poster says it all. Tom Cruise as the Last Samurai. Talk about whitewashing something. This is
Tom Cruise as the white savior.
Yeah, white savior, 100%. I remember seeing this movie, and I remember being kind of like, all I remember was long. It was a long movie. I think it was really long in the tooth. Beautiful vistas. There were some cool action scenes. But yeah, I mean, it was totally white savior shit. I would have rather it just been samurais, like fuck the Last Samurai. I would rather just saw some samurai shit. But we're gonna sprinkle some. Tom Cruise was hot at that time, so why not just put him in everything?
Yeah, we were just talking about, like a period piece or an epic. Like, this is the only way this movie got made. This movie was probably called Samurai, and it was probably all Japanese people. And they were like, we're not making this movie. This is all Japanese people. Like, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah. What if we put Tom Cruise in it?
What's Tom Cruise doing? What's he up to?
The Last Samurai. And did you know that the Last Samurai isn't actually a Japanese person? It's Tom Cruise.
Go on. Yeah, all the executives perked up at the table, and then you got the Last Samurai. Yeah, there was also a third Terminator movie, which I totally forgot.
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't.
That's how I feel.
No, there wasn't.
The absolute balls and audacity to even think you could make another Terminator with Schwarzenegger, let alone a Terminator after T2. Like, T2 just sets the bar so incredibly high for, the story. I think out of just IP greed, they were always going to make another one, but this was total weak sauce. I remember like this one especially, right. It had the female Terminator, and that was like, oh, cool. There's sure. Why not? We'll be inclusive. There can be a female murderous Terminator, but it was just weird. It didn't play very well. He started to look a little waxy and old. I think Claire Danes for some reason is in this movie too, for no reason at all. Maybe she's one of that's how they do every one of these movies. Like, what Connor is this? Is this his sister, his aunt?
No, she was like the daughter of one of the guys who works at like the military who's decides to put Skynet online.
Cyberdyne or whatever.
Yeah. Dude, so like I don't think like James Cameron had nothing to do with this. He just probably got like a character. He probably got some money for like creating the characters or something like that. Like he had nothing. He did no story credit.
Have anything to do with this.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, right? Like I'm sure that they had to pay him for using his characters, but the only way that Terminator 3 could ever be good is if Cameron had anything to do with it. Because 1 and 2 are all him. They're all him.
All him.
You remove him, and obviously Schwarzenegger is the character, but you remove like that creative aspect from it. Why are you even making? Why you're not even making a Terminator? You're no longer making a Terminator movie.
You're not. You're just kind of like you said. You're asking permission for the IP. You're just taking it, and you're taking it and running with it. And unfortunately, in this case, you're running off a cliff with it because it was a pretty awful film. It should have never been made. Also, 2003 brought us not just one Matrix movie, but 2 Matrix movies, which just kind of blows my mind. And I'm seeing this from what AI producer brought up. So the first one out of the gate was The Matrix Reloaded. So this was the sequel follow-up to The Matrix.
Right.
Now, I will say, I think The Matrix is a great movie. I really thought it was amazing. Yeah, far ahead of its time, visually incredible. I think it changed the dynamic of like sci-fi action films forever, basically. Bullet time, everything wanted to be it for years after that. The whole look and feel of it. This was, it was inevitable they were going to keep making these. They were so successful. Of course, it's like, hey, you got another one we can make? You got 2 more we can make? And this came out. I'd say this, from what I could remember, had a few good set pieces, a few good action sequences, but it just could not live up to the first one already. It just felt very regurgitated. Like they wanted to bring you deeper into this world. And it just didn't, for me, it didn't necessarily stick the landing.
There is one thing that I remember that I still like, I hear it in my head. There's an action sequence where they need to get from like point A to point B, and Trinity, like Morpheus, I think he says like, "We'll take the highway," and Trinity says to Morpheus, "You always told us never to take the highway. You said it was suicide." That's what I think about when I go on the highway here in Orlando. Like I will do everything in my possible power to not get on. Not because I'm a bad driver. I'm a great driver. Fucking no one can drive in this fucking town. And I swear to God, every time I'm going to get onto the highway, I just hear like this, like, "I thought you said it's never go on the highway. It was suicide." I'm like, here we go. So that is the
Wow.
one thing I have taken from the
Memorable
Matrix
line.
Reloaded is I've applied that to my real life is
Wow.
don't get on the highway because it's suicide.
And I mean, speaking of the Matrix Reloaded and the highway, who could ever forget this amazing moment in Matrix Reloaded with that ass that could stop time right there? That thing is nuts, dude. Yeah, Carrie Ann Moss, just that was probably the
Oh
best
my
part of
God,
Matrix Reloaded is that B Donkadonk is insane. Look at that. Look at the whatever that guy's name was, the keymaker or whatever the fuck.
dude,
He is hypnotized by that shit.
dude, he kept screwing up this
Jesus
take.
Christ.
Dude, this must have been take like 30 because he kept forgetting his line after seeing that. Holy
Yeah.
Jesus.
There is no
What?
spoon, just that big fat booty. God
Jeez
damn.
Louise.
But obviously, a big fat booty like that led to a third film, which was really, really terrible. I thought they maybe should have just left it, capped it at Reloaded. Revolutions was awful. It was so freaking bad. I remember going to see it in the movie theater, and like, it's one of those things where it's so bad, like people are laughing at it. Like,
Mm.
that's not good. When everybody's laughing at it's complete cheese. Obviously, mainframe babyface was awful. Like, I don't know what the hell that was. Like, giant Gerber baby that comes out of demonic Matrix, and it had like demon voice and blue electricity. I mean, I don't know what the hell the Wachowski at the time brothers were thinking. This was out of control. Stupid.
Yeah, isn't it at the end of the movie where he's all the blind messiah and all he can see is like in yellow, but it's this baby robot knows that he can converse with him. Like, is this what I remember about this movie? Is
Oh,
this is at the end of the movie and they're making a deal, like the robot baby is brokering a deal with blind Neo.
this is exactly the language that was going on when they were
Yeah.
writing the screenplay. They're like, yeah, robot baby brokers a deal with blind Neo. And then, but then what has to happen is then Neo goes into the mainframe and he finds evil Colonel Sanders, who's been running everything the whole time. And they broker a deal and they shut the Matrix down. Okay,
Yeah,
great. Let's send that off to Warner Brothers. Let's go.
I mean, I know you like every sequel has the almost impossible task to living up to the original, but where things like The Empire Strikes Back can do it, you know what I mean? Like you were hoping, like especially after the first Matrix, like you were hoping for like an
Right.
Empire Strikes Back. We didn't get an Empire Strikes Back.
Oh,
It's like
no.
we got
It fizzled out. It
yeah.
fizzled out, and they tried to even recreate it and bring it back years and years later with the, light the spark again with the Matrix. And it is one of those things. It's like anything. It's a popular IP. If there's a will, there's a way. They'll try. If there's money, they'll make it.
Mm.
But yeah, it's like it's so far away from what the first one was, which was just seismically shocking. Because I can take myself to going to that theater, sitting down and watching it, and being like, I've never seen anything like this. This is wild. What a
Same.
crazy ride. I couldn't wait. And then I got Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions after that.
Got that badonkada.
Yeah, and Colonel Sanders. Elf. Everybody loves Elf. It's like now it's a heralded Christmas film, huge vehicle for Will Ferrell. Yeah, it's fun. I think it was a big Jon Favreau hit. Jon Favreau directed it. It's kind of the beginning of his big directorial crush that he ended up having for many years after.
This is I can't remember where I saw this, but it was like if you're either a National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, an elf, like your Christmas movie. Oh yeah, it's the first one is You Shoot Your Eye Out Kid. Christmas Story. Either like you can tell what decade you grow up on. You're either a the Christmas Story kid, you're a Christmas Vacation kid, or you're an Elf kid. I was a little too. I mean, shit, we're in our 20s when this came out, but I always forget about Elf as like a Christmas movie just because it wasn't one of those ones that was out when I was a kid. But for him being synonymous with Saturday Night Live shows his chops in this one. I mean, yeah, it's not like that big of an ask. He's a fucking basically a 6'6" like retard, but I mean, he's still like he
Not
still
a
does a
stretch
good
for
job.
him.
Yeah, he still
Yeah.
does a good job. He
Yeah,
still does a good
he
job.
definitely broke the mold, I think, and I want to say maybe very not too soon after this, he then did like Ron Burgundy and Anchorman too.
Yeah.
So I think he does. This guy does just kind of. There's sometimes I'm annoyed by Will Ferrell, but for the most part, I have mad respect for him because he does have range. He steps into uncomfortable parts and he does it fairly well. He does drama, he does comedy, and this, like you said, this has become very synonymous with being like a Christmas classic. But you know, again, I think we're of the era. We're more like National Lampoons or Die Hard or whatever whatever we want to call our Christmas classic.
Yeah, Elf is just a little too late.
Oh, well, yeah, I forgot about
Bad Boys
this.
2?
Bad Boys 2.
So I've never Bad Boys 1, I have seen several times.
Yeah, which is good. Which is a good, solid action film. Great Michael Bay flick.
I've never seen Bad Boys 2.
I have seen it. I feel like I've seen most of the other iterations of Bad Boys, but is that like Gabrielle Union? Yeah, she's like rocking a piece. I just think, again, it's one of those definite overkill moments for both of these guys. I mean, Will Smith's looking pretty yoked up. This might be even around when he started training to do Ali or something. He's got some big ass guns on him there.
I do not like Martin Lawrence's trigger discipline. His finger is on the trigger and he's pointed right at Will Smith.
Yeah,
Will Smith
what are you doing?
Must have fucking slapped his ass before this shot.
Yeah, the armorer came over and was like, "Yo, dude, chill."
Don't like that trigger discipline, Martin Lawrence. And also, like you said, Willie Smith here with the ripped off sleeve showing them guns.
He's showing what he's working with here.
Martin Lawrence did not sign on for having the personal trainer get on a diet. He's like, can I just wear, like.
He brought the snark. They were like, just snark it up, dude. We just need you to have all the little snarky lines and, basically prop up Will Smith. Will Smith's got his like construction worker goggles on there. I guess those are safety. I don't know why he has safety goggles on if you're in the heat of battle.
And a giant earring. You got to look good while you're killing people in Miami.
Yeah. So Bad Boys 2, meh. Speaking of twos, X2 came out that year, the sequel to X-Men. Again, this was during the every superhero has to wear a black costume phase in Hollywood. Like, God forbid any costume had color. It had to be like, again, let's take it back to the Matrix effect. I think everybody was like, black leather's hot. Every superhero's got to be formed up in some black leather daddy shit.
I can't even remember who the bad guy was in this one. I mean, obviously like Magneto, but I can't remember what the
I do remember it was actually Brian Cox plays Stryker.
Stryker.
Okay. And it's freaking Brian Cox, and he's Stryker, and it's a Weapon X storyline, I think, right? There's like some Wolverine, because I think in the comics it's Stryker and Weapon X and all that shit.
I can't remember, for whatever reason. I can remember the end of the first one where the Statue of Liberty and Halle Berry versus Toad and all that. I just can't remember too. I remember they changed the name. I can't remember what the working title was, but didn't they change it to like X-Men 2, X-Men United, because it was like filming after like 9/11, and so they had to capitalize. Right. They had to capitalize on patriotism by calling it X2, like X United. Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
that's what that's how little I remember the plot. I remember they changed the name to go pull on the patriotic heartstrings.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the cast lineup here. I mean, again, Hugh Jackman did make an awesome Wolverine, so good that he's come back several times over to rehash that role. So I mean he's great.
Ian McKellen, dope ass Magneto, Professor X. I mean, Professor Stewart. He is Professor X. I buy that. And then Femke Janssen, she's tasty. That's
what done without Cyclops guy. Who is that? James Marsden.
He always gets the short of the stick every movie he's in. He's destined to be the guy who doesn't get the girl.
Yeah, pretty much. What's her name? Rogue, Anna Paquin.
Couldn't think of her name.
What's her name?
Who plays Mystique?
Rebecca Romaine.
Yep, there you go, Rebecca Romaine.
All right, yeah. I mean, again, a fairly cool stacked cast, and again, God, they went on forever with these. The third one was another atrocity that came out years later. But yeah, X2, good movie. Mystic River, forgot about that.
there's Clint Eastwood, and then this is Clint Eastwood went through this thing like a bunch of his films. I shouldn't say went through. This is like the majority of the films he directed. They were novels. Like it reminds me of he was like flying somewhere and he's just in the bookstore at the freaking airport and he just picks up a novel and he's reading it on the plane and he's Clint Eastwood. He goes, I'm gonna make a movie out of this because that's like I mean he's Clint Eastwood
just like that.
Yeah, he's like I don't this it's already written. It's already because you got to figure right like if you can buy the rights for the book that's already written the story, you don't have to pay like a screenplay like a screenwriter or anything or go through we need to get this approved or this would give a rewrite. Boom, you got the story from start to finish. And
got a fan base built in too, in a sense. Like the book lovers are going to go see the movie too. It's kind of it's double whammy.
Who's the girl who plays? It was like her first. I think it was like one of her first roles. Sean Penn's daughter. She's in Emmy. Is it Emmy Rossum? Or is that her name?
Yes, it is Emmy Rossum, who did like Shameless later on on whatever that was, Showtime or something.
I definitely remember seeing her in this movie and saying, I don't know who that girl is, but she's mighty pretty, very pretty girl.
Yeah, and again, this movie it's good. It kicks. Sean Penn, he brings it home. Very Sean Penn.
Yeah,
very Sean Penn.
Is that my daughter in there?
Oh yeah, that was probably a one taker for Sean Penn. But yeah, a classic Eastwood jam. Okay, yeah, Seabiscuit, which of course about the frickin' horse. This was a remake because I think the original was done a long time prior before this. I don't really remember much about this movie. I mean, I know that obviously Tobey Maguire was in this, and this was, I think, also kind of after. I think he was like, I can do more than Spider-Man. And they're like, all right, well, then you can be in Seabiscuit.
Be in Seabiscuit, Toby. We got Seabiscuit for you.
Well, now, am I the horse or you're riding the horse, Toby? Yeah, you are. You're not going to be like, do the voice of the horse or anything. You're going to ride it.
So I definitely did not see Seabiscuit. I completely forgot this movie came out. I mean, I'm familiar with the real horse Seabiscuit. Hey, spoiler alert, he wins the Triple Crown, everybody.
Well, hey, also spoiler alert, it only made 148 million in the box office, so no wonder you didn't see it or remember it, because I think it was kind of like a kind of a dud. And I know, like, again, it's not like it made people's careers or anything. I mean, I'll watch really anything with Jeff Bridges and Chris Cooper. Chris Cooper's a good actor too. But yeah, I mean, I feel like probably the horse was the best part of that movie.
When they remake this in 2003, so in 2043, I can tell you, I'm looking at a white guy, and a brown horse. It's going to be way more diverse when they remake it. Like when they retell this story.
Oh, it has to be. This was old white Hollywood in 2003.
There's gonna
speaking of white Hollywood, this begs the question: Does Jack Nicholson fuck? And that's exactly the answer to this movie, which is called hold on.
What the heck is it called?
Yes, you got it. Something's gotta give. And that's probably him referring to his dick.
Yikes. So I don't remember seeing this movie, but isn't Keanu Reeves also in this movie? And isn't like Keanu Reeves like hitting on Diane Keaton in this movie or something? Or is it like, oh God, I see. Or is he?
That sounds about right.
Is Jack Nicholas dating like her daughter, who played by Amanda Peet? For someone who hasn't seen this movie, I some reason I know so much about this.
You hold up the DVD. All right, we'll let that one go. Yeah, exactly.
Like hiding my tattoo.
Your signed copy by Amanda Peet. I do remember. Actually, you know what's really funny is I can remember my wife. One of the first times I ever hung out with her, she made me watch this movie. She was like,
dude, you've made it.
I've made it. I've actually had to watch it, and I sat through it, and it's everything that you just said. Very correct. That is basically the plot of it. And and then it's like they have an unlikely romance, probably a more appropriate romance, and it's just like, I think we talked about Carrie doing Bruce Almighty as kind of an end of his kind of like vehicle domain that he had. I think it was the same with Nicholson. I think that he had done like As Good as It Gets, and they started like putting him in these kinds of movies. I think this was the real last hurrah for him. This was that kind of movie. Like he's the older, kind of sexy, charismatic leading man thing. He's snarky, like that was it. This was his swan song.
Yeah, I know he was in like The Departed. Obviously came after this, but he still wasn't the like big lead, and he was the antagonist in that, but he, like you said, he wasn't like propping up the film
Romantic comedies or whatever
as the main character,
they had gotten kind of pigeonholed into. And I mean, Diane Keaton's no slouch. Annie Hall, I mean, she's kind of cinema royalty for all the things she did, and I think she still does shit like this. I think that's all she does, is she just continues doing these. Oh, this would be great. You know who'd be great? Call up Diane Keaton. I know she's around. She's just waiting for the phone to ring.
Oh wait, that wasn't the next like romance he had, wasn't in About Schmidt where Kathy Bates like gets in the hot tub, her naked ass.
Yeah.
So he went from Diane Keaton to Kathy Bates.
Yeah, and now he's just sidelining it at Lakers games and smoking ciggies. And I dig Nicholson's style that eventually he was like, fuck it. He was like, I'm out. You want to see me rent my movies, like he's out of it, dude. He's gone. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can talk about Hulk that came out in 2003. This was actually, yes. So this was the Hulk before the Marvel craze. So this was Ang Lee. This was Eric Bana. Eric Bana played Bruce Banner.
Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, good. Yeah, Jennifer Connelly. And yeah, I mean, I don't have many memories of this film. I know it did not do very well. I know it was panned by a lot of obviously huge comic nerds that didn't like it. I remember they did like the whole like weird comic panel style shit throughout the movie sometimes, and that got really stupid and annoying. The CG wasn't there yet. You weren't getting like amazing. I mean, there's better CG on TV today than there was in this movie.
I remember it getting panned for the CG because one of the battles is they like inject the gamma radiation into like some dogs or something.
Oh, yeah.
And they look like obviously they mutate and they become like Hulk dogs, but it looks awful. I mean, for Ang Lee, who directed Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and basically made it look like people were flying through trees. And I get it that practical effect is different from CG, but you think someone who could make something look so good one way, you could give him the tools to make it look like passable.
Look at him chewing on the missile. That's the best.
The Hulk doesn't look so bad in some shots, but yeah, everything else in that movie.
I didn't mind Bana as Banner. I think it was fine. It's just, again, it was like, maybe not yet is really what it came down to. In 2003, we weren't there yet, and this was also just companies being licensed Marvel rights. This was before Marvel Studios, so it's like it's really wild to look at all that stuff back then. I mean, obviously, God, there was Blade, there was Daredevil, so there were properties that were definitely X-Men. There were properties that were given, IP to do, but even Spidey, yeah. So it just didn't do it, though. It just was kind of a weak sauce film. But yeah, I mean, I think then you move forward in the future, and now you got Avengers, and you got Mark Ruffalo. I think it's like a fairly good Hulk, but yeah, I don't know. This one was a kind of a swing and a miss.
No Tony Stark Iron Man, that's for sure.
No, it took until that to kind of ignite the flame. Oh, baby. How can we forget Too Fast, Too Furious, the follow-up sequel to Fast and Furious? Yep, there it is. This is like this still is the movie right here.
I have never seen any one of the Fast and Furious.
Me neither.
I've never seen any one of them.
I've never seen a single one, and I kind of don't ever plan to see one. I kind of like being in that exclusive club that I haven't seen it. And I just think over time, it's obviously a campy fan favorite. A lot of people like these movies. I think to date, they've made 10 of them. Have made 10 of any movie.
I would like to see the bottom line for what this franchise is right in, because you don't make 10 of these damn things unless people are just paying you. Well, how are you going to make with movie theaters being like shot in the foot? Could there be like, I don't know when the last Fast and the Furious came out was, but like you said, they're making like 10 of them, right?
Yeah.
So if Barbie can make a bunch of movie at the box office, if Oppenheimer can do decently well at the box office, does that mean that like Fast and the Furious 11 is going to put butts in seats? Like, because I'll tip my hat to you. If you can make fucking that many movies and still put like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of asses in seats, you got to be doing something. You got to be doing something right.
Yeah, you got to be doing something right. And I mean, obviously, you know, it's just it keeps going even after Paul Walker passed away, and he seemed to be a big part of like the as the lead character. He was kind of that he had that charisma. But then, I mean, then you know they put Vin Diesel in the front of it. Then The Rock joined, and John Cena. It's just that I think what they do is they like to just titillate with casting, and they just they're probably paying the talent to come in and just jump in the driver's seat and drive your car and shoot missiles. And it's outrageous. From all the trailers I've seen of the new ones, they just seem like it's almost a joke on itself. It's just stupid, but like people like the big stupid fun of it. Yeah. But yeah, this was the second one. To think there were 8 more after this. Jesus Christ. Insane. Kill Bill, baby. Kill Bill came out in 2003. Kill Bill's a great film, and it's volume 1. It's obviously one of 2. 2 came out, I think, the following year. It was an interesting move for Tarantino to split it into 2 movies. That was the first time, maybe only time he's ever done that. Will ever do that.
I remember seeing this at the Alamo Draft House. And I remember,
sweet.
And
that was fun.
Dude, it was fun. It was fun. But the only problem is, you know, the fact that it was Quentin Tarantino and in Austin, the fans who were there, it was, I've never been to like a Rocky Horror Picture Show, like sing along, but you know how everyone's like all just, oh, this is part of the movie. It's like, that was what it was like.
Yeah,
like there was just almost like that the crowd who was so enamored with, because it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's like, can we just watch the movie and not be like, oh, this is fucking awesome because this is from this movie? Like literally where people are like talking like, oh, this is from this, oh, this is not. It's like,
it's like if I wanted that, I'd wait for it to come out and rent the DVD commentary of the movie. I'm here to enjoy a movie. I got popcorn and a soda. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but that's I mean, again, he's one of the only guys where I think Hollywood, even at this, you know, in 2003, he making a bloody, you know, revenge kind of modern kung fu flick.
It was all of those things. There were so many callbacks to all of his, you know, the things he loved.
Nobody else would have gotten the paycheck, like the money to do that, unless you're Quentin Tarantino.
It was awesome, man. It just brought a lot of things into the zeitgeist, especially. And again, he's one of those guys that he's a tastemaker. He makes kinds of movies that everybody wants to try to make afterward. And there were lots of stupid Kill Bill wannabes that came out. But yeah, and I mean, obviously, I think it turned heads. Uma Thurman's great in this. You know, she was great, obviously, in Pulp Fiction, which was another Tarantino film. But I think this changed the game for her too, because she just came in and fucking killed it. She was great.
Oh man, when she is in the coma and the beginning, and my name is Buck, the guy comes in, the orderly, when he is like pimping her out to the other guy, he gives him the fucking lube, and he's like, sometimes this cunt's cooch gets drier than a bucket of sand. And I mean, it's like there's times like, you know, you're watching a film and the
Cringe.
way the dialogue drips out of the character's mouth, and that one I remember sitting in my seat being like, oh Jesus,
oh god,
like it's just so foul.
Oh yeah,
so vile.
It could only come from the mind of Tarantino. That and all the gratuitous feet shots of Herman. That's all from his brain as well. Let's round off movies with obviously I would call most of what we saw right before was probably the better picks of 2003. Let's talk about the trash. Obviously leading the charge there is one we talked about already, Geely. Geely was an absolute bomb. How
does Ben Affleck look like more of a douchebag here than he does in that
other picture? Yeah, he probably kept that. He's like, can I keep this? Can I keep this wardrobe? AI producer saying, Geely, the Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck romantic comedy, is considered one of the worst films ever made, with a 6% rating, one of the lowest ever on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics called it laughable and a joke.
I'm not.
But their love was not.
I'm glad I'm
No.
Yeah, I'm glad that I missed because what's his name's in that too. El Pacino. I remember he's in that. I can see him in the trailer, but it's supposed to
Oh
be
my
like a
god.
gangster flick. They tried to sell it like a sexy, gangster movie kind of, but it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, what did it say? It was panned as one of the worst movies ever made. Congrats, Lovebirds. You did it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so bad. Next up, From Justin to Kelly, which basically
Okay.
probably the working title was Saving It for Marriage. Because look at those two. Some creepy, wholesome looking shit.
I, obviously that's Kelly Clarkson.
It is.
Where is that guy gone, dude? Like, where is that guy? Is he still on the beach?
There he is.
Like,
Is he still
where?
on the
Yeah,
beach? Yeah. He rents ski-doos at the beach they filmed From Justin to Kelly at. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you Justin's last name. That's how insignificant and like gone that dude is. Write it in the comments if you know. Obviously Kelly Clarkson, she moved on to do plenty of things. I think she has a talk show or whatever, but this was just, I mean, again, never seen it, never will. Oh, here we go. AI producer saying, oh, I love that it's classified as a beach musical. I didn't know that's a thing, beach musical, starring Kelly Clarkson and Justin Guarini from American Idol, was nominated for 6 Razzie Awards. So it did win some awards, some terrible awards.
What was his last name? One more time. Justin
Guarini?
Guarini. I'm just
Guarini?
trying to. I was just trying to think if there's like any other time in the last 20 years I
You've
have
heard
heard
that name.
Dude, I'm sorry, Justin. I don't know what happened to you, buddy.
Yeah, the only time you'll hear his name is if you're in like the unemployment office of Los Angeles and you hear his name rung out.
Guarini.
Justin Guarini. Weren't you in? Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
All right, come on in. Sit down.
Weren't you in the beach musical from Justin to Kelly?
Yeah. Just gross and wholesome and disgusting. Apparently there was a second Charlie's Angels that came out called, horrible title, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. Wow. Sequel was slammed for its incoherent plot and lack of substance. Shocker. And critics said it lacked the fun and charm of the original. Now, I do remember the original Charlie's Angels. I think it was hot because that director Mick G directed it. Remember him? He God knows I haven't seen his name in a while, but he had kind of a different flair, almost a Michael Bay action thing going on. And sure, it was cool to kind of reignite an old property. Everyone loved the 70s Angels, Farrah Fawcett, and obviously these 3 ladies were hot to trot, and they all got cast as the Angels.
And didn't Bill Murray, wasn't he like not asked to return for this one because he like called Lucy Liu like a dog eater or something?
Dude, yeah, that's on par for Bill Murray. Yeah, he was. What was that guy's name?
The
Bosley or something?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not Bosley, something else, but something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I want to say like
Hello, dog faces.
Yeah. It's really good.
It's Angels, Bill. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why he didn't get asked back because I guess him and Lucy Liu kind of butted some heads. But
ooh,
yeah. I mean, on a McG set, I'm sure tensions rise high when you don't even know your director's full name. He goes by a moniker.
McG. Yeah. And I remember this was kind of the Drew Barry renaissance. Like all of a sudden Drew Barry was this like sex symbol again. Obviously Drew, what's her name? Cameron Diaz was always kind of like something about Mary, and she was kind of that sweetheart role for a while. Lucy Liu, Kill Bill. I mean, what a year for her. I guess she's in a really great movie and a really shitty movie at the same time. But yeah, they did not make a third one, I guess, gratefully so. But yeah, no need to rewatch that. Is there one more? Yes, so there's a few more. Oh my God. So next up, oh my God, Cat in the Hat. I forgot all about this absolute travesty of a movie. 2003. Mike Myers is losing his damn mind here, dude. Like, what are you doing, man? Look at him in that picture.
I want to say, like, for what it is, like, for being not this movie, but for a remake of or a live action of a Seuss story, Jim Carrey as the Grinch is like a decent like movie adaptation of that source material.
I'll give you that. Yeah,
this cannot be good. Like this, the fact that they don't, I don't ever remember seeing this like since 2003. Like the Grinch, obviously, it's got the benefit of being part of the Christmas, but
Right.
also the
Yeah.
performance that Jim Carrey does. I mean, he's very good as the Grinch. What the hell did Mike Myers do as the cat? You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
nothing that I can.
You're looking at it. Yeah.
What did he do as the cat?
It's so bad. And I think that really two words come to mind, and that's cash grab. Because I think that, like you said, they got greedy. They saw, oh, look, hey, we made some dough with the Grinch. Um, Jim Carrey's on to bigger and better things. Who else is desperate and dying for, to build another house and, get a big paycheck? And it was definitely Mike Myers. Because I want to say, even at that point, maybe the Austin Powers stuff had definitely dried up. That well was gone. And I mean, yeah, look at him. He's just way too happy to be in that costume and shit. And yeah, it's awful. I mean, it's just I didn't see it. I've seen clips from it, and it's just super cringy. It's super effing cringy.
The clips that I can see, I remember him doing like trying to make like rawr noises or whatever, like try to talk like a cat, and it just doesn't work. He's like trying to do too much.
It's awful, dude. It's so bad. And I'm sure it was filled with incredible, horrible critic puns with about like 9 lives, and they were killing him. I would love to read even a dozen of the headlines of the shitty crap on Mike Myers articles that came out after this movie dropped. God.
Yeah, they wanted a sequel out of this so bad.
Yeah. Hey, don't hold your breath. I haven't seen Mike Myers in a bit. He might be out there making it right now.
Because isn't there a Dr. Seuss book like The Cat in the Hat Came Back, right? Isn't
Probably.
that like it is? Yeah, so they were probably banking on we can do the second book if this goes well.
Look, Mike, 7-figure paycheck. Show up. We're gonna put you in the costume. You gotta growl like a cat, lick yourself, hawk up a cute hairball. You're paid.
I'd like to see if he went method, just slept in the suit. It's like, don't even take me out of it. I need to be one with the cat.
It's all smelly and shit. All right, last one, which is probably the freaking worst one of 2003, Dumb and Dumberer. There was just no reason to make this goddamn movie. This is also just like, why even try? Like, why? It's just like, I think it's like this mechanism of like the younger versions of people, this happens, and it years later, I think a lot of people take this and run with it. When you can't get older legacy characters back, you go, that's fine, we'll do their younger versions. Who the hell are these two dudes?
Okay, good dude. For a second, I was like losing my mind because isn't there the real Dumb and Dumber sequel with Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey?
There is. They make one.
Yeah. Okay.
With dude, Harry and Lloyd as we know them as the fucking characters, not these fucking nobodies.
Yeah, that's for a second. I was like, that movie was way back, like the one with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, the sequel to the OG. I was like, that was in 2003. What the fuck is this?
I don't even effing know, and it just they look terrible. It looks so bad, and it's just like
freaking me out too.
Why? And what's the storyline? It's like a dude Where's My Car, but with Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, and Dumb and Dumberer. It's so fucking bad.
And Lloyd Christmas looks like cancer Channing Tatum, and and Harry, dude, that looks like if you got Lloyd out of it, that looks like that would be like a college age woman in a 1980s movie. Like she's like sipping soda.
Oh, absolutely.
Outside like a Big Y or something. But
shocker, I'm seeing AI producers saying that apparently the Farrelly brothers had something to do with this too. The guys who goddamn made the first one. Like, what are you thinking?
What is this, dude? How do I not remember this?
Why did you do this? Were you indebted to a mobster loan shark and you just had to make some money? It's so bad.
I am so glad that this is completely wiped from my memory. Like I said, I remember the real Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey sequel. This might as well be like a Mandela effect or something.
That's what I'm saying. It does. You're right. It's in that class of so surreal that it doesn't feel like it ever existed. And for our case, I wish it never did. And that's how we will wrap up movies in 2003. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's so funny. You're right. Like I have no recollection of like a trailer for that or like anything. So yeah, if you remember Dumb and Dumberer, tell us about it. Cause God. I am absolutely lost.
I believe it is time for an entertaining segment.
Ooh.
A little
Okay.
segment.
Maybe
All
we
right.
can do a little palette cleanse on Dumb and Dumberer. Let's see. What are we going to do? Oh, I love this segment. This is a good one. We did it on a prior show. It's a little segment we like to call
Oh,
Dream
Dream Roster.
Roster. Dream Roster's
Nice.
fun. And usually we try to tie Dream Roster in if we're doing something like movies or TV, because obviously we want to pull some awesome characters into our Dream Roster. That's kind of the gist of it. Basically, Dream Roster is Clay explained it great on the last show. It's basically it's like you're putting together your crew. You know, if you're going to go, maybe it's the heist film and you need all the specialties of the people you need. You're going to pull from this dream roster of people that you get to choose from. And for this, we are going to stick with 2003 movie characters for Dream Roster. So let's get into it. First one up is Jessica Biel from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Very memorable performance by Jessica Biel in all the right ways. She was really showing her A game in this for sure. Cowboy hat.
The damsel in distress, but also the heroine.
Wow.
Able
yeah,
to
the tied off like wife beater thing she had going on. Yeah, I mean, she escaped a lot of death and a murderous rampaged fucking murderer. So
survival instinct, definitely outsmarting her captors.
Yeah, she's got that going for her in spades, and she's not too, hard on the eyes either.
Easy on the eyes.
Oh, here we go.
Okay,
I think it was Jimmy Markham. What's his name?
I think so. Yeah, from Mystic River.
River.
He was
perfect. Sean Penn face. That's like the quintessential Sean Penn face right there.
Yeah, a Boston. He really wasn't mafia. He was like Irish, kind of. He was like a gangster, but he really wasn't. He was Irish, so wasn't
like a heavy,
mafia.
like an ex-heavy
like
and shit. Yeah, definitely. So he's got some street smarts. He's got connects. He's kind of a bully. He's a tough guy. He's the muscle. All the Charlie's Angels. Okay,
nice.
cool.
Okay.
You get 3 in 1 with this. They all have a specialty. One's probably really good at mechanics. The other's like a weapons expert. And apparently one likes to surf and probably just use her vagina as a weapon as well.
That's a superpower.
I would assume that was a superpower of one of the angels, if not all. So yeah, that's quite an interesting package. You get all 3 there. Very interesting. Paul Walker for the Wheelman. Actually, you know what? I know how that turns out. There we go. Tyrese Gibson. I think I'd rather him be. Sorry, I'd rather him be the Wheelman.
No, I'm not going to. I don't want to tell them who to pick on their dream roster, but you might want to go for. I'm just saying you might get pulled over a little bit more with this guy.
Okay, that's true.
I'm just saying. I'm just going to.
All right, that's true. But I think I need a guy who can handle a fast car. I think I'm going to go with Tyrese Gibson. So yeah, he can cut some quick turns. He can get me out of a sticky situation. Yeah, I think he's a good choice to be on the dream roster at some point. Hattori Hanzo. That Hattori Hanzo steel, weapons expert, makes incredible weapons of death. I just think he's a great guy to have in any team. He's going to make you some killer swords.
He can make sushi. Also, he's a sushi restaurant, so he's a restaurateur. It's gonna be eating good.
I love that line. I got vermin to kill. Ooh,
Biel.
Absolutely. Oh, Mystique.
Mystique.
There we go. She's cool. She can do a lot of cool like shape shifting and change herself into people. Very chameleon like. She ain't too bad to look at if you look at her scaly boobs.
And I believe she also has like super strength because she's a mutant. So if you like getting, a little bit of a tussle bang, I'm sure she can teach you a little rough in the bedroom.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mystique. Oh, my boy.
Wizard. Gandhi.
The golf. Gandhi Dolph. I think, you can't really go bad with him. He's got all that magic up his sleeve. He probably has great weed all the time on him. He's always got the good shit. Got that Shire shit, that big pipe. Gandalf's a catch, no doubt. And it's Ian McKellen. I'm sure he's fun. He has some fun old-timey gay stories he'll tell you, and that's fun. It's just fun to listen to that stuff. The Terminator. Yeah, the female. I think she was the TX.
The TX. I was trying to remember what the number, her serial number was. That's right.
Even that's like such a terrible reach too. I'm going not to pry, but just like really TX. That's what they came up with. But anyway, TX. I mean, she's Terminator. She can do a lot of cool shit. She's a goddamn endoskeleton. strong. Death's definitely on her radar. She just wants to kill. It's not a bad thing to have. Agent Smith. Mr.
See,
Anderson.
See, this guy is like probably the closest thing to like digital Superman. But
Yeah.
now the only problem I would have with him is, putting him on the roster. He's kind of a wild card, you know, and you don't know if he's gonna stick to the plan, if he's gonna try to assimilate everybody, if he's gonna stab you in the back. But he's arguably so far, aside from Gandalf, I would say probably one of the most powerful that we have seen on the list so far.
Agreed. And rounding off our choices, I actually thought this guy was the wild card. It's Elf. Let's put Elf in there. He has Christmas magic, which is not just regular like fantasy magic. He has Christmas magic. He could definitely be a distraction. He's goofy. He can go in. He can be, again, the distraction. I don't know what he's doing more or less in a crew, but he's Elf. I mean, we'll throw him in there.
Man.
So
it's tough.
All right, here we go. Here are our 10 candidates for dream roster. Go ahead. Who do you pick for your dream roster?
All right.
You can pick
3. We get 3.
3. You can pick 3.
We get 3. We get 3. All right. I can tell as soon as I saw him, 100% Gandalf. 100% I'm taking Gandalf.
Great choice.
I'm taking Gandalf. I'm taking, like, that is even his is Gandalf the Gray, which he's not even Gandalf the White. He's not even Gandalf the White. So he's like the lesser form of Gandalf. And I would still take Gandalf the Gray. I think that's just a no-brainer.
Fair.
Now this is man, I'm really honestly I'm actually interested in Elf, you know. I think I would put Elf on there. I think it would be like you know how when sometimes the like member of your team who doesn't seem like the brightest, but they end up like doing the thing that saves your ass in the end. For some reason I have like that feeling about Elf. Like he would screw up until the point where everything was like going tits up, and then he would somehow like figure out the thing that needs to be done.
All right, Elf.
And then, man, I'm going to take a lady here too. I'm trying to, I think I will stick with your grounded reality. I'm going to go with the fantasy broads. I'm either going TX or Mystique. You know what? I'm going against my better judgment because both kind of can like shapeshift a little bit, but I'm gonna go with TX. And the reason why I'm going to go with TX is I don't think she talks that much. And so
perfect.
I think that would probably be like, as far as like a member of the team where I needed like some shit to get done. I'm like, listen, you're like Gandalf, you're on point. Elf, stay at the back. TX, just do your thing, baby, and just go kill, murder people, do whatever you got to do. I don't want to hear about it, but I don't want to hear no questions. So I'm taking Gandalf, I'm taking Elf, and I'm taking TX.
Great team, great choices, great explanation. That's tough. Gandalf was a grab. I was going to get Gandalf too, but he is now taken. I'd say to replace Gandalf, I'll go Agent Smith just to get a little magic on my team. I think digital magic's cool. He can be a virus. He can infiltrate the security system in the place that the team needs to get into. We're in a digital era. He would be powerful. He'd be a powerful tool against any enemy. I wouldn't want him to talk a lot because I can't stand when Hugo Weaving talks in that movie. I don't need him to be calling me Mr. Barilli every fucking 10 minutes. So as long as he shuts up and he just infiltrates all this, he kind of takes point on security. Agent Smith for that. Hattori Hanzo, man. I think I need a good armorer. I need a weapons expert. I think that'd be him. He would be rocking me some sweet steel weaponry.
Not only the best swords maker in the land.
The best, like absolutely cuts people down, will not break, tried and true. The sushi's a nice, I'd like to brought up the sushi. He could be also feeding us all sushi at random hours of the day. Rounding it out, my last pick would be, I'm going to go deep in my team. I'm going to really stack my team. I'm going to go all through Charlie's Angels. I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to pull them all in. I get a little flavor from each of them. Also, maybe they're all down to, join up, get freaky at some point. One could dream. But they all have a specialty they bring to the table, and I'm rocking a pretty strong crew, a five-person crew to do the job. Yeah, that's my picks. Charlie's Angels, Agent Smith, Hattori Hanzo.
As Tom mentioned, this is quickly becoming one of our favorite segments when it allows to fit the episode. So if you guys like to put your members of your dream roster, please let us know in the comments down below, because this is a fun game that's not going to go away anytime soon. We like dream roster. We're
dream roster is cool. It's come up a couple times in the episodes. I think Epoch Traverser, AI producer, they like it. So they kind of throw it into the mix, and we definitely enjoy and abide by it. So that's it. That's category 3 movies. Let's take a quick break to talk to our last sponsor, and we'll be right back to wrap up the year of 2003. Bye.